Imagine you're standing on a narrow steel beam, like hundreds of feet in the air. The wind is howling, your legs are shaking, and, well, the only thing keeping you from falling is this sheer, desperate need to clear your credit card debt.
Yeah, it's basically uh, the ultimate physical manifestation of financial anxiety.
Mm.
Just a literal tightrope walk over a complete abyss.
Right. Your stomach drops, your palms sweat, and all you hear is that faint rhythmic hum of dread. Zawa Zawa. You've entered the world of Kaiji.
The absolute peak of tension.
Seriously. And looking at our sources today, after what was supposed to be the final film in 2020, that existential dread is officially returning to theaters in January 2027.
Which is just a huge announcement.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. The real mission for this deep dive isn't just figuring out what games he'll play this time. It's trying to understand why we're still so fiercely obsessed with watching this guy suffer.
Well, what's fascinating here is that we already know this franchise essentially laid the groundwork for the modern survival genre. I mean, it's the raw, gritty grandfather of mega hits like Squid Game and Alice in
Oh,
Borderland.
absolutely. It's the blueprint.
Right. But what makes Kaiji hit so much harder than its successors is the sheer psychological cruelty of it all. The shadowy antagonist, the Tai group, they really weaponize the illusion of fairness.
Because they don't just kill the losers, do they?
Yeah, no, not at all. They strip away their bodily autonomy. They force them into lifelong debt slavery. And they engineer these scenarios where survival literally means betraying your own fundamental morals.
Yeah, it's not just about surviving a deadly puzzle, it's the psychological torture of it. But why does that resonate so intensely with you right now? I mean, watching a desperate underdog make terrible financial choices and get crushed by an all-powerful corporate conglomerate feels, honestly, a little too close to reality in 2026.
Oh, 100%. Just reporting on the sources here, they point out that the widening wealth gap makes Tai feel less like a comic book villain and more like the logical extreme of modern corporate power.
Right, and Kaiji himself is just the perfect foil for that system, because he's not like some strategic genius.
No, he really isn't. He makes terrible choices, he's impulsive, he falls for obvious scams, and he constantly wastes his potential.
Which makes his moments of brilliance incredibly cathartic for you as the viewer. When his back is truly against the wall, he doesn't win by being smarter than the arrogant executives in the room.
Exactly. He wins by being more desperate.
Right. He weaponizes their own hubris and greed against them.
Precisely. It's this agonizing, raw performance of human survival.
Yeah, I totally get the catharsis of that dynamic. But here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly where I have to push back a little with the question. Kaiji Final Game was explicitly billed as the definitive end to the live-action franchise back in 2020.
Yeah, that was definitely supposed to be the swan song.
Exactly. So doesn't reviving a finished story just feel like a studio cash grab? Like, are the executives behind this film franchise just as addicted to the lure of one last big score as Kaiji himself?
That is a very fair critique.
Mm.
But the draw for the audience isn't just brand loyalty, It's the specific, agonizing energy that actor Tatsuya Fujiwara brings to the role. Fans are just praying for that Zawa Zawa dread to return.
Oh man, his acting is so intense.
It really is. There is this visceral demand to see him pushed to the brink again, just perfecting that throat-shredding scream of pure agony while he clutches a cold can of premium beer.
Right, the iconic beer scene. But even if fans just want to see Fujiwara scream again, where do they possibly take the story? The sources note the plot is completely under wraps.
Yeah, that's the tension driving all the current hype. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's entirely unknown right now. Will they adapt one of the unfilmed manga arcs like One Poker, or maybe forge an entirely new path?
Which is wild, because while waiting for January 2027, you can easily look back at the source material and see all these brilliant psychological games left untouched. Like, think about the mechanics of a game like E-Card from the earlier arcs.
Oh, that's a perfect example. It strips gambling down to pure class warfare.
Yeah, where the lowly slave card is literally the only thing capable of defeating the all-powerful emperor. That kind of thematic resonance, the idea that those at the very bottom have a unique power to topple the top, is exactly what a 2027 audience is hungry for.
Exactly. Or they could adapt something like the 2.4 billion escape arc, where the mechanics shift entirely. It turns from a localized survival game into this massive paranoid manhunt.
Right. The stakes aren't just about surviving a single night anymore. It's about trying to hold on to a massive fortune while the entire societal system is actively rigged to hunt you down.
And that really gets to the core of the franchise. It's a constant punishing reminder of how quickly the tables can turn when you're playing against the house.
So what does this all mean? Well, the sources actually leave us with a stark warning that defines Kaichi's world. The only thing more dangerous than losing is thinking you've already won.
Which brings us right back to that steel beam teetering above the abyss.
Exactly, leaving you to ponder in your own daily grind against modern corporate giants, how often do you mistake a temporary reprieve for a final lasting victory?